Okay, so today we'll be adding a second color to our Collagraph block print. Last week we did the heart shape and we printed it in red, and today we'll be doing another color on top of that red. So I'm going to show you how. So what we'll need for today is our registration paper, the one that we drew out last week. For our block, we would need our block, the block that we created last week and we printed it in red. And why this paper is important is because we will be lining up this block in the exact same spot that we lined it up last week. And that will be possible due to our registration square that we drew and our paper that we have kept. We would need our prints, which I have there. They would have to be dry, so they are dry right now. They've been given a week to dry, which is more than enough time. And we are ready to print on those. Next we would need our paint. So it would be another color that will be printed on top of this red. And I think I'm gonna go for yellow this week, because when I print the yellow on this red, I will be able to get a nice mixture. I'll be mixing to create a third color. So I'm gonna go with yellow. Right? So a yellow paint. And lastly, we would need a paintbrush. A paintbrush to take out our paint and put onto our block. So here I have a paintbrush, and let's get right into it. So the first step, I'm gonna take my block and make sure it's in the same exact place that it would have been last week. And I want to make sure of that because when I'm coming to print my paper, I want to place it down in the same exact way that I registered the paper last week. So placing my paper on the top corner and just looking at it, I should be able to see that it would line up perfectly with what I had done last week. So just making sure my block is in the correct orientation, I can now move my block over to the dry area, the what we called last week our painting area, and I'm going to paint on my next color. I'm going to go with yellow, give the yellow paint a little mix. Right. Now I'm going to add the paint to my block. Just like last week, I'm adding it to the areas that are in relief, the high areas. Or maybe, just maybe, some of your objects may have fallen off. Maybe one object fell off, maybe two objects fell off. That's okay. That's perfectly fine. Once most of them are still there. Again, I put my paint into the high areas, onto the objects itself. Paint my matchsticks. I remember we're working a little bit quick here because our paint does dry and we don't want it to dry without printing it, so we gotta work a little fast. Right, I think everything is generally covered there. So now I'm gonna transfer my block onto my registration paper, putting it in the exact same place that I put it last week. Let me just fix my camera. Alright. Putting it in the exact same spot. That's easy because there's a square drawn, so I can register it. Remember, we talked about registration. That's where we line up our block and our paper in the exact same space each time. So we're doing our registration. And now I take my print, my red print, the print I had done last week. And now I'm going to use that and line it up with the corners of my registration paper. Line up this corner. When I line up a corner, I like to put my finger on the corner and hold the paper down. Then I line up the other corner, put my finger down, hold it down, and now I gently rest down my paper onto my block. Right. Remember, we're using the palm of our hand to just gently press the paper onto the block. And we don't want to press too hard because we could burst the paper. You will slowly start to feel the paper getting softer, and that's when you know you're getting close to the point of where you want it's going to rip, so gotta be careful. Right. I feel like I got everything there. So now I'm gonna take off my print from this paper. Right. Now let me show you there what I got. That is my print. Doesn't that look cool? Right, so I have my red, I have my yellow, I have certain spots where yellow is showing, I have certain spots where red is showing, right? The yellow is on top of the red. We're also seeing some hints of orange coming in, which is our third color. It's created by, of course, mixing red and yellow, but we're overlapping it on the dry red, right? And you're seeing it coming through in certain areas, the orange, right? So this is a well done print. What we want to do is we want to do another one and try to get it to come out the exact same way, because we're doing an addition of 3 prints, which means we're doing 3 of these prints using these 2 colors. So I'm going to get my block ready for my next print. Going to move it back to my painting area. Going to go to painting it. Painting the high areas. You can see my paint is drying because it's actually really hot today. So I'm gonna work a little quickly just to make sure my paint doesn't dry up too much. Okay, so I think I've covered everything. And let me now move that back to my registration paper, lining it up in the exact same spot. Yep. And now I take another print that I did in red, and I'm gonna line it up with the top corners of my registration paper, lining up this corner, put my finger to hold it down, lining up the second corner, my finger to hold it down, and now I drop my page onto the print. It's only when I pressed it a little bit then I could let go. And now I'm going to use my palm to gently press and put that print that ink or paint onto the paper. Right. So now I believe I can take it off. And I place it down there. That's my second print. See, I've gotten two. And I'll show you something about that, interesting about that in a bit. But let me just do my last one. So I'm carrying it back. I'm gonna ink it one more time. So I'm carrying my block across to my paper. Go to my print. This is my last one. And I register the page to the top. I line up the corners. And now I drop it back down. Right. And what we have here now are 3 prints. Each print, addition of 3 prints, showing the use of 2 colors. Now what this is what we were trying to create, but I want to show you all some key points when doing the prints. If you all notice on this one, there is no yellow on this coin, and on the others there are yellow on the coins in the corner. We want to note those differences. So I was only able to do 3 prints, but I'm hoping that you all did more than 3. And what you would be able to do is you would be able to do another print, and in that one try to get the yellow just like these two on the coin, so that it makes all 3 of them the same. When we look for addition of 3 prints, we're looking for addition of 3 prints that look the same. So when they look the same, they have the same features, the same color, almost the same placement, right? Note the little piece of red here. That red was not printed in yellow in both of them because that was where a straw was, and the straw fell out. So it remained in red, and that is something that's identical in all 3. Okay? And just like last time, what we do when we finish printing is we label number and label each piece. So this would be piece 1 out of 3, and I'm gonna call this heart. This is 2 out of 3, and call it heart. You could also write the date, 2021, and this is 3 out of 3, heart. So that's labeling our edition. Our edition is a series of prints that are done to be the same, and the labeling of it has the total number of prints along which print it is, if it was the first one or the second one or the third one. So this is all 3. You all can have 4 prints, you all can have 5 prints, but for this assignment I would want you all to have 3 prints looking as close as possible. So these would be 2 of them I would choose, and possibly when I do a next one I might put that one in as my third one. Okay, so that is our print for today, printing in 2 colors. Look out for the next video, and I'll see you all next week.